So I worked on the Las Vegas Strip for 2007 until 2019. I thought I would take an opportunity to tell you about those years and what it was like being a full-time promoter for various things. How's it going, everybody? My name's Steven and I'm not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I hope you guys would like, share, subscribe to this video. Hit the bell for the future notifications and tell us, have you ever worked in marketing and promotions in a tourist town? Some of you guys have. I'm sure you have, especially if you live in places like Florida, California, Las Vegas. In general, it's the one job that anybody can kind of do because they're always going to take salespeople and promoters. It's called the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule, okay? 20% of the people make 80% of the money, and the rest of them just stand around asking and making excuses. But anyways, I'm out here tonight. So that's a comment I want to know. If you guys want to support us, you can reach out to us on Facebook, on the group Not Leaving Las Vegas. Like the page, join the group. The group's very social. You can also hit up Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. We also have VegasFaceMask.com. The only two that you'll ever need. This is Shamrock, done by my wife, Sweet Caroline. Dun, dun, dun. Sing it with me in the comments. And she makes them in hand, ships them out. This will be to your hands in time for St. Patrick's Day. You got to wear a mask. By the way, these are double. See, there's different fabric underneath. So Fauci said you should wear a double mask. You could. Anyways, what the hell? Commercial went way too long. All right, so I worked out here on the Strip for a long time. And get mad at me, tell me that I'm a charlatan, I'm a con man, I'm whatever, it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt me anymore. I promoted timeshare in places just like this, literally right here. During that time, I also sold Grand Canyon tours before I realized it was not something I should be doing on the Strip, but I stopped. You can't take money on the Strip from people, it's way against the rules. And it was tough, but it was also incredibly rewarding. And some of the things that I learned throughout the years was not to complain, because it's all on you if you're not doing well in life. To make sure that you hustle yourself ragged most days. But the worst thing I did during that time, and it's confession time, was I made excuses for the majority of it. If I started this, I can remember when I started because it was right around timeshare promoting. Let me explain the job before I tell you about the story. When you come to Vegas, there's timeshare everywhere. It has a very, very polarizing opinion on timeshare. Some people love it and some people hate it. Of course, some people buy a car that they can't afford the maintenance on and they hate the car. And timeshare is the same for a lot of people. It works. People who own the Marriott and the Hilton properties, they seem to love the product. People who got high-pressured sales into it, that's a whole nother thing altogether. My job was to basically help people get tickets and shows and entertainment and buffets and gambling for free. And I'll tell you this right now, I'm proud to say I always did my job relatively ethically. I found out that things were scams. I stopped giving them out. I would give Cirque du Soleil tickets when I could or cash when I could. And I told people, don't buy into this stuff. It's not your obligation to buy, just sit through the presentation. I stood out on street corners just like this. I worked here when it was still the Barbary Coast. Then it was Bill's Gambling Hall and Saloon. These kids are having a blast. Holy cow, you almost hit me. Let's hold on a bit. And one thing I learned is that you have to be fair and equitable to people. I slacked for a really long time. I listened to all the people around me that were old veterans in the business who were making excuses. And it was a major problem for me. I listened to the wrong advice. And I would come home and I would tell my wife it was a horrible day. And I would say that the season is coming. It's just around the corner. Most tourist destinations have seasons. I didn't know that Vegas doesn't have a season, but these guys were used to going to places like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where when it's warm, it's the season. Or they would work in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where when it was nice weather, it was the season. And then everybody would make excuses, and they were valid in those cases, that there was no traffic. But there always was traffic on this Strip. Now, it's a lot different. There's always traffic, but it's probably a lot harder to do that job. I don't do that job anymore, by the way. And that was the biggest thing I learned. Number one, treat people fair and equitably. Number two, be accountable to yourself, because at the end of the day, it costs a lot of money to get therapy for the whole world. You might as well just work on yourself. So work on yourself and don't blame other people. And that's the biggest lessons I think I took out of Las Vegas. And it's the most important thing. So I value that time that I did that job. But some of the things that I also learned in that job were there is a huge amount of problems was substance abuse in a city like Vegas. And people who make money daily, and they make it quickly, because you can make a lot of money very quickly in that business, they tend to fall into their dark pit if they have one, and most of us do. It's a little devil over here and a little God over here, a little angel, and they're always arguing for your soul. Some of those people listen to that devil a lot more. If you have these problems, you'll fall into that pit, and it's really hard to get out. During that time, I lost friends who, I don't know, there was Chuck. Chuck was a really big, huge, jovial guy. You know, like think about this. Think about the super fans on Saturday Night Live. Big, huge guys from the Midwest. You've seen them. They're not all big, huge people, but he was a big, huge guy, and he liked to do bad things to his body. And one day he just had a heart attack next to his girlfriend in bed after doing bad things, putting bad things in himself. And there was Dustin. Dustin. He liked to do things that would get him really, really amped up, and at the same time he would do things that would get him really, really mellow. And he did the wrong thing that had the wrong thing in it, and one day he disappeared. And then there was another guy, I don't want to say his name because I respect him a whole lot. I'll call him Frank. And Frank passed from cancer, and I think it was skin cancer that spread, and that's a byproduct of standing in the sun around the world promoting these things and doing this outdoor sales job. And so I guess the moral of the story is that I learned a lot of things by being on the Las Vegas Strip. It's the only town you can live in, I think, maybe, possibly, where on your way to work you'd pass a Lamborghini. Is this a Lamborghini? It's a Ferrari. I don't know my luxury cars. I don't drive one, but you can pass a Ferrari on your way to work. But it's also a town where you have to humble yourself. And when you're coming here, don't be a tough guy, please, with the timeshare people. They're just trying to do their thing. They're trying to make their ends meet, just like when you're at your job. And yeah, sometimes they can be a pest, and sometimes they don't know when to say no, and that can be a major problem for people too. But it's a timeshare booth behind me right now for Westgate. They're just trying to get by, most of them. Most of them are good people. But you never know when you're going to run into Chuck or to Dusty, or was it Dustin, I said? I'm trying to change their names. You don't know when you're going to run into that person and they're on the wrong thing at the wrong time. You don't know when you're going to get into a confrontation, and it's going to ruin your vacation a lot more than it's going to ruin their day. Because if they've been already in trouble with the law, they know the system, but you're probably a good person. So just be nice, just be kind. If it really bothers you, maybe don't come to Vegas, but I hope you do come. I hope if you do come in this pandemic situation that you have a good immune system. You don't go home to anybody who's got pre-existing conditions. You're not going to go home and hang out with your grandparents the next day. Be sensible, you know. Wear a mask, wear your gloves. You get the masks from my wife, VegasFaceMask.com. Wearing Shamrock, as I told you. You notice how it doesn't fall down off my face. I'm just wearing it. I can talk while I'm in it. It's very comfortable. 2-ply too, so there's that. We got the Bellagio with Lady Gaga behind us. It's a beautiful day in Vegas. I'm glad you guys, beautiful night. I'm glad you guys tuned in to hear some of the lessons that I learned working on this strip right here. I used to work literally here. See this? This CVS pharmacy behind me used to be a parking garage for Bally's employees. And right here there was just a little strip of sidewalk, and then a bunch of trees behind you had the parking garage. And we would stand out here and talk to people. Hey, you guys going to be in town for a few days? So if you hear that, just smile, nod, tune them out, listen to Lady Gaga playing to you behind the Bellagio. It's better things for you to do than fight with them, and they're just most of the time just trying to make their money. I guess that's it. Now's the time of the video where I say thanks for watching, with Lady Gaga blaring behind me, hopefully not triggering that content system on YouTube, and I say 3, 2, 1, click. Are you ready? I can't click the button because it's the back camera, so I'm going to put the hand up and say thanks for watching, sharing, liking. 3, 2, 1, and click!